Hello everyone, and thank you for being here. This class will be about the power of withdrawing the senses in meditation. There is a beautiful image in the Indian tradition that says, just as when the queen bee flies out, all the other bees fly out along with her. And just as when the queen bee settles down, all the other bees settle down with her, the senses always follow the mind. So there is an interconnectedness between the senses and the mind in meditation, the way we experience it in meditation. For this reason, it's very, very important to learn how to be with the senses in meditation and how to slowly withdraw the tendency of the senses to move outward and gently let them move within. So the process of withdrawing the senses in this specific class will be about moving slightly from the outer edges of our physical body, letting the senses slide inside, more connecting them into the core of the inner body. So there will be a sequence of moving from the outer edges of the physical body into the core of the inner body. So I want you to take a comfortable posture for meditation now. So use all the different instructions that you have received about posture so that you feel comfortable and steady when you're there with yourself. So take the time you need to do this. Remember, first you want to settle into your roots, settle into your pelvis. And then settle into what I call the middle seat or the middle foundation around the area of the heart or the diaphragm. And then settle into the upper foundation or the upper seat, which is around the area of the collarbones and the upper palate. And then as you do this, you slowly start to feel that there is rootedness and steadiness in your posture, which is not just about the physical posture. It is about breath, it is about focus, it is about your intention to move within. So take your time. Don't do it fast. And when you feel you are set, then very, very gently close your eyes with the intention to move your gaze within. The process of reversing the senses from their tendency to move out is actually a powerful way to quiet the mind. So right now, allow the sense of gaze, the sense of sight, to soften into your eyes. And let your eyes soften into your head. So we are using the outer senses, the outer organs of the senses, the eyes, the ears, the mouth, and all the other organs of the senses, the ears and the skin, to soften more and more into the midline of the body. So you start with your eyes, the organs of the eyes. You let them soften into the eye sockets. So you release any attachment you have towards looking or grasping through the eyes. So you allow your gaze to soften into the midline first. And then eventually soften into the back of your head. And then do the same with your nostrils. Just soften them into the back of the nose, into the center of the head, and again into the back of the head. And then soften your ears, the canals of your ears, stretching into the brain. And let your gaze rest once again into the back of the head. The same goes with your mouth, with your throat, and with the tendency of speaking or communicating through verbal communication. This is an action of refraining from elaborating thoughts or images in your mind. Because every image and every thought is connected with languaging. It's connected with the word you give to that image. So by softening your tongue, your throat, your mouth, with the intention to release the sense of voicing, verbalizing into silence, allows the mind to rest. And then shift your awareness to your skin, to the sensation you have of the skin being covered by your clothes, clothes touching your skin, and the skin touching your muscles, and the muscles softening onto the bones. And the energy of the bones softening onto the central column, the central axis of the inner body. And then Relax your hands and the tendency you have to grasp or hold or possess through your hands. Not only you relax the palms of your hands, but also the fingers, the space between your fingers. And then relax your feet and legs, and the tendency you have to move around through your legs and feet. This action is very much connected with your pelvic floor. So release the pelvic floor and the center of your pelvis. And let the feeling of retrieving energy from the feet and the legs into the center of the pelvis give you a more steady connection with the axis of the body that stretches from the center of the pelvis up to the crown of the head. And then release your anus and your genitals. So release your desire to reproduce, like to have sex, to use your sexual energy for pleasure or for reproduction. Just soften into your genitals and give them the chance to rest for the time being. And same goes with your anus and your intestines. And have the feeling that the more you withdraw your senses within, from the periphery of the body into the core, you're moving into integrity. You're moving into letting the energy flow in rather than out, to integrate the energy rather than dispersing the energy. So every time you soften your eyes into the center of your brain, you're moving into the core of the head. Same with your nose and your ears. At the very beginning of this practice, I told you to move more backward, with a feeling of the eyes being welcome in the back of the body, because I wanted you to have the feeling of being sort of nestled there. But now try to withdraw your senses into the midline, feeling that you are actually finding your way back home into the center of the body. And you do the same with your skin, your mouth, your arms and hands, withdrawing into the heart, your feet and legs withdrawing into the center of the pelvis, your anus and reproductive organs withdrawing more into the navel. And when you reach the center of the body, the central axis of the body, shift your focus at the very top of your head and just rest there for a few breaths. So while you are there, you are actually aware of the full extension of the central axis through the whole body into your pelvis. And then imagine you breathe into the body from the crown of your head into the center of your head. And when you exhale from the center of your head upward through the crown of the head, a few inches away into space. And with the next inhalation, you move a little bit more into the body, reaching the heart center just below your sternum bone. When you exhale, you let the breath move upward through the upper palate and out through the crown. And do this exercise for a few breaths. First you start from the crown into the center of your head and out. Then from the crown into the heart and out. And then you move a little deeper from the crown into the navel and out, stretching upward through the center axis of the body. And then with the next inhalation, you stretch it from the crown into the center of the pelvis and out again through the crown. So the more you move into the inner body through the central axis of the body, the more the energy moves within. So it withdraws into the central space of the body. So, as I said once, move very gently within the geography of the inner body. As you breathe into the head and out of the head, it's like a butterfly touching the center of your head through the breath. The butterfly flies into the head. It stops at the very end of the inhalation. And then it flies out from the crown with your exhalation. And then the butterfly flies into the heart. It settles there. And then it flies back up through the center of the head and out of the head, out of the crown. And the same into the navel and out. And then into the pelvis and then out. But with this degree of gentleness, like only a butterfly can do. So you're not forcing your breath in and out, but you're actually receiving it, like you would receive a butterfly in the palms of your hands. In such a gentle way. Your intention is to be blessed by the breath, with every inhalation and with every exhalation. Blessed in the head, in the chest, in the navel, in the pelvis. So that your whole body becomes sacred, becomes a sacred vessel for your awareness to be in. And if that is the case, then you can stay there for a long time without being bored, without being restless. Just sensing the power of the gentle breath moving in and out as the senses are quiet. Stay there for a couple of minutes and meditate quietly. let your gaze be very soft. Don't try to manipulate or to control the practice, but let it happen. Then very gently go back to your breath, to your regular breath. Extend your inhalation and your exhalation, making them deep and long. And return to your physical body. So allow your senses to move back into their seats. So the energy of sight move back into the eyes, the energy of smell into the nose, and so on and so forth. So you're allowing the prana to move back to the periphery of the body. To the edges of the outer body. And when you open your eyes, keep your gaze very soft for a couple of breaths so that you don't go immediately to performing actions, or you don't engage your senses once again immediately. But you stay in the state of inner support. You feel that you don't need the world. You don't need to be part of the world immediately, right away. You stay connected with your inner experience as you slowly move back into the outer world. And then gently, you can open your eyes now, if you haven't done so yet. And if you want to lay down, you can lay down for a couple of minutes. Or you can grab your journal and journal about the experience of withdrawing your senses from the outer edges of your body, your physical body, into the core of the inner body by using the outer senses first. So the outer senses are softening into the inner body, and then you're softening the sense of sight, the sense of smell, the sense of hearing, when you feel that the outer senses are already connected with the core or the midline of the body. And as you are resting or journaling, I will read to you the sutra that corresponds to this practice. It's Sutra 35 that says, one can attain that spiritual love from renunciation of sense objects and from the renunciation of attachment to the sense objects. So, the withdrawing of the senses is not just a technical thing. It is actually a way that we use to get in touch with a sense of divine love inside of us, which metaphorically is connected with the central line of the body, with the midline. So in this way we become the servants of our own meditative energy. And then we know how to dose our senses in the world so that we don't interfere with our inner state, with the natural movement of our meditative energy. So we learn to be in the world without being of the world. We learn to be engaged in our actions without becoming the slaves of our actions. So we learn to detach slowly from the need of performance. We start to feel things rather than projecting things with the mind, than projecting our objectives through the mind. So withdrawing the senses is about learning how to get back to empowering ourselves and finding a steady posture inside the midline of the body. I urge you to extend the practice longer than what I am instructing you right now. So if you want to stop the recording right there after my instructions and stretch the practice a little longer, you can do that. Actually, I encourage you to do that, so that you learn little by little to embody the practice, to be with the practice, to find intimacy in the practice. This is very crucial for your sadhana in meditation. Thank you very much for being with me today. Till next time, namaste.